Yeah, Texas State, day one, I very pleased with how he played. I'll take a road win, a win at Texas State, but ultimately we played phenomenal that night. Like we were firing on all cylinders. Offense was great, defense was great. Serving was extremely tough. We our aces were up there, but our errors were high. But at the end of the day, that was a unit that played together, and that was a very good team win. And then day two, it was a completely different team out there. We talked about it. Then we talked about it this morning again, and we talk about great teams being able to put back days together, and we've got to figure out how to do that. We've gone through some adversity, we've learned some things, and I'm hoping that, moving forward, we're able to make that change because I think teams have now had the opportunity to see what we are capable of after that match against Texas State. Because for us, it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a one-time thing. That is who we are, and we've got to be able to fix it and put it together 2 days in a row.
It seems like y'all continue to come out hot in the first set. What does it mean for you to see the girls, especially in that first Sun Belt Conference match of the year, take over and then go on to win and continue that trend of coming out hot in the first set?
Yeah, I think it is important. We talk about setting the tone, whether it's setting the tone of the first set, setting the tone of the first match of conference. We talk about setting the tone a lot. And so I do think it is important to come out and start a match pretty hot like we have been, but it goes back to the consistency of being able to uphold that the entire match. I think this week was a little bit different. I think set 2, we kind of fell off a little bit. And then 3 and 4 figured it out again. But we have to be able to consistently do the same thing that we have been the last 3, 4, whatever it might be, sets, and not let our game fall off, even when they do make the adjustments. When we fell off the first day, I don't feel like that was anything that they did to throw off our game. I think it was everything in our control. And then the entire match Saturday, I felt like that was a match we lost ourselves. I told the girls I can take losing whenever we just got beat, but we beat ourselves. Like Texas State they do get a win, but unfortunately it was us that just gave them the game.
Can you talk about Kaylin, the way she's had to sort of take over a lot of the offensive shouldering this year?
Yeah. I don't think it's that she has to, because we have a very balanced offense. We have really good hitters across the line, but I think her teammates trust her. They know she's going to put the ball away, whether we're in system, out of system, and transition. She has really good numbers in all of them. And so I think her teammates continue to give her the ball because they know that she's going to put it away.
You talk about Kaylin's numbers, and she's going to garner a lot of attention from opposing defenses, and rightfully so. But you still have 6 players who are averaging 1.5 kills per set. So kind of talk about the support that Kaylin is getting. On top of that, when it doesn't have to always go through her. There's other players who can come out and make those plays as well.
Yeah, we've talked about that as a team. Once we get into these conference matches, opponent scouts are going to be, whether they're scheming all the way out to Kaylin, whether they're going to be in a soft front, a hard front, a commit with our middles along with Kaylin, CG mostly. But now what they've seen Lindsay be able to do too, we're probably going to hold a middle there as well. But it's nice to have a balanced offense, because if we can do our job and make the adjustments, once we see what defensive scheme they're in, we're able to feed other people the ball. And then once they change that scheme to control what's happening there, then we're able to feed, the Kaylins and the CGs and the Lindsays and the opposite side of the court. So it is nice to be able to have a balanced offense. We just got to do our job in getting our girls in that situation.
Seems like Harley's coming into her own on the side of Kaylin. What have you made of her performance as of late?
Yeah. She's one that we've known what she's capable of from day one, even from bringing her here. We saw her in high school and club, so we knew what type of arm she had. But, she struggled a little bit mentally, just trying to figure things out, the consistency part. Her and I had a couple conversations, and it was really just something that she needed to work through on her own. We told her as a staff, we trust you, we believe in you, we know that you can get the job done. And I think this weekend was huge for her because she went in and she made some really big plays and crucial moments for us. And I mean, the velocity that she puts on that ball is unbelievable. She has a cannon of an arm. And even, talking with Mick Haley, one of their commentators Saturday morning, he was like, you don't really see coming off her hand what it looks like, and then you see how hard it is. The velocity is unbelievable. I think if we can continue to get her going, biggest thing is her transition game. Once she figures out the transition part of it, she's putting herself in a much better place to score.
And personally for you, how does it feel going into EK Long this weekend for your first home Sun Belt Conference matches, undefeated at home on the season?
Yeah, it does make me feel good. The girls love playing at home. I know we're going to have good crowds. So excited for that. But App State is going to be tough. They've been playing really well. They have a new coaching staff. The system is different than what they've been running. And so things are going to look a little bit different, but they play a very disciplined, fast game. I think it's a little similar to ours. Difference would be if they continue to go that way. They're running a 5-2. But they haven't the last couple of games. I don't know if it's because injury. I don't know if it's just because of personnel change. But it's going to be 2 tough matches for us.
With App State coming in, they're an East opponent, kind of a unique way the tournament sets up where your records really come from your West Division. Right. So as a coach, how do you approach this weekend, with your team and saying like, hey, it might not count towards tournament seeding, but, this is a game where we still need to have our full attention and get better as the weeks go on.
Right. I've actually gone back and forth with myself, even having that conversation with the team, because I feel like it's a double-edged sword. You can say one thing and have the effect that you don't want, or you can say that and have the effect that you want. I think this team is young, but I also think they're mature in a sense that they would understand, but I don't want it to have the effect that I don't want. And, we have a goal, and that is to defend our home court, and I think the girls will stay true to that. But biggest thing is going through and continuing to build our confidence. Today we talked about being, an underdog per se. We still have a lot to prove. We are still very young. And so I think if we can just go out and do our job in that sense and focus on our goals and what we can do, then I don't think we need to worry so much about it mattering or not mattering when it comes down to the end of things.
You talked about you still having a young team, and last year, setter experience kind of was a big deal. Obviously you had the unfortunate injury, and there was a little bit of inexperience at setter position. Coming into this year, you had some very valuable experience coming in. Even though they weren't with your team, they played a lot of ball, they played a lot of games. Kind of talk about what that has meant for your offense overall, having that experience with your setters.
It definitely helps a lot. They know the game. They do. One of the nice parts about it is you can sit down and you can talk through different situations, and they truly understand the reasoning why behind things. We switched up some positional practices this morning where I went with the setters. We're going to do some film where I go with the setters. Just one, so that they can have a different voice, but then two, I want to see what they see. I want to know what they're thinking, because to me, the longer the game goes, that decision making isn't always the best. But talking to them this morning, I don't know if it's necessarily on them, and I know that might seem crazy because they are the ones setting, but them and I had a really good conversation, and I'm hoping that moving forward, it continues to get better. But their experience is very invaluable for us. Like, it's valuable for us. It's helped us in games, and it's going to continue to help us in games. And then also just from the leadership standpoint, they have the experience, they know what to do. And so I'm excited to see them against App this weekend, because I think it's going to be more of our style.
Looking at that, you have App State, and it certainly doesn't get any easier from there. Once you go Southern Miss, Troy, South Alabama, Arkansas State. What have you seen so far from your squad, and what are you looking to continue to see this weekend playing a very good App State team?
Yeah. Friday, like I said, we took care of the ball on both ends, offensively, defensively. I think we passed like almost a 2-4 as a team. I think it was a 2-3, something, which is huge. I mean, if you're passing that as a team, you are putting yourself in a position to run your offense. We were swinging high hands. We were covering. We were getting easy balls back to where we were transitioning seamlessly and putting those balls away. I think once we do that, I mean, volleyball's easy. It's fun. It's easy. You're going to win. But it's, again, doing that on a consistent basis.